Acrylic primary pigments. So the information on the pigments I'm talking about in this video will pretty much translate to any type of paint like oil, watercolor, gouache, but I mainly work with acrylic, so that's where my frame of mind, that's where my reference is gonna be. So light is the source of all color. For example, as light illuminates this orange, all of the colors of the visual spectrum, aka the rainbow, are being absorbed into the orange, and what's being reflected back into my retina is all the colors that make up orange, so yellow and red, and then my eye sees that it's orange. However, there's a difference between mixing color with light and mixing color with paint. Finding natural pigments that will create a paint can be more difficult. So why can't you just extract whatever makes this orange orange and make it into a paint? It's because as time goes by, this orange color will disappear as the fruit decays, and in a painting you generally don't want that to happen. You need to find some sort of mineral or compound that's stable and will withstand natural elements like light, or won't blow up when you mix it with something else. Theoretically, the basic pure hues, red, yellow, and blue, are used to make all colors in existence, theoretically. However, this really only applies to light. Primary hues in natural pigment form doesn't exist. We can get pretty close though. A lot of pigments you find in paints these days are pretty much going to be created in a lab simply because a natural mineral of that hue either doesn't exist or it's unstable in some way to make into a viable paint. So today I'm going to give you examples of 3 kinds of pigments to get you started with color mixing. Pretty much the closest you can get to primary colors in paint would be cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and phthalocyanine blue. Phthalocyanine blue. So first of all, cadmium. Cadmium is a toxic heavy metal. Most cadmium paints, or I'll say pretty much safely, all cadmium paints on the market now contain a low enough amount of cadmium that it's not considered a health hazard. Now, I wouldn't go around and eat your paint or anything, but you know, if you're a starving artist, you gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Cadmium can be used to make colors ranging from yellow to deep maroon. Cadmium red and yellow are both solid choices for primary colored paint because of their ability to hold true when exposed to light, so their light fastness. They're very bright and warm. They're both warm colors, so that's great quality, and they hold their own when they're mixed with other colors. Mixing cadmium red and yellow will make really strong greens and oranges. A downside to legit cadmium paints would be their price. Cadmium red tends to run a lot more expensive. Cadmium yellow is a little less expensive, but still on the higher end. Lastly, phthalocyanine blue. Most of the time it's just called phthalo blue. It's a synthetic copper-centered compound. It's not known to be toxic, at least not yet. It's made into a pigment in a similar manner that cadmium is, some chemical reactions, and it's heated up at high temperatures. The color range of this compound can vary from blue to green. Phthalo blue has green undertones, thus making it cool in temperature, but it's still very vivid. It too will stand up to light and mix well with other colors, like both of that very well. Today's activity is making a practical color wheel. Learn to mix your own colors because A, you'll have more control over the final color. B, your color mixing will be more consistent. When you run out of paint, you'll be able to make the color again or get really, really close. And C, you might save a little money. Instead of buying millions of different pre-mixed colored paints, it's just as easy to mix your own if you know how. Making a color wheel is kind of self-explanatory. I'm not going to go into very much detail, but here's a speed video of me making one so you kind of get the gist. Now, if you need something interesting to color instead of a boring color wheel, I'm giving you a free coloring page from my new abstract coloring book. That's right, you heard me. It's an abstract coloring book. It's called Fill in the Blot. I left a link below if you want to download the page. If you do color the free page, share it with me on Instagram using the hashtag #FillInTheBlot. I would love to see what you do, even if it's just like, we're just doing simple color mixing and color wheel stuff, but I still want to see what you do. And if you want to buy the whole book, you can get it on Amazon, and I'll leave that link below too. As always, if you'd like the transcript of what I talk about in this video, you can go to my website, which I'll also leave the link below in the description, and I'll see you next time. Bye!